Hello, everybody. I know you probably forgot about us because it's been a very long time, but we are back with episode 42. Um, we're all very happy to be back. I'm speaking for the players. They don't get a say. They are happy to be back.
Yes. Yes, we are happy.
So, where we last left off our players, they have been traveling through the floating belt desert. They had encountered some scorpion riders who came out of the sand and ambushed them with two Aarakocra scouts. After dealing with them, the players continued on and took a rest. In the morning, as they were making their decision of which way to go, they saw a sandstorm pushing their way a further to the south, with the mountains poking up behind it. Knowing that some of the mountains can move fast enough to kick up enough sand to create a sandstorm around it, the players have the decision of where they would like to go, whether they'd like to continue down the path they've been on, or whether they'd like to go see what's going on with this mountain. So, you've all had a long rest, and you see this mountain traveling towards you in the south. It won't come near you. You will have to head south to intercept it, but you can see it off in the distance, and it's moving at quite a bit faster pace than the other mountains you've seen so far. You do know that you have been tasked to head towards the Dragging Teeth mountain range and suggested to start at the northern end of that. So, heading to the northern part of the desert until you basically hit the Thousand Lakes. So, until you encounter water, and then just heading west from there should put you right at that point. So, what would you like to do?
First, a quick question. Would you say that the mountain is drag racing?
No, because it's not racing anything.
I'm being yelled at.
I don't blame her.
I mean, it sounds like we were kind of cool with going to intercept. Was that the? I know it's been a while.
Um,
Well, I
it
mean, if
it wasn't talked about. It was just introduced, and
Okay,
then and
we
then
hadn't discussed it.
yeah,
Okay.
we were going to, but we had to end early because people needed to go. So
Ah,
we could investigate it and see if um we can figure out what makes one mountain go fast and the other one slow. You know, another source of stuff for data.
I can concur with that.
High Speed Mountain seems like a plan.
okay, so you're going to head south to get on intercept course with the mountain.
How far? How fast does it look to be traveling at this point?
Uh,
Because it's causing a storm around it.
yeah,
Is it speed causing the storm, or is it just there is a storm and it is clearly around the mountain?
that is
Or
something you'll
cannot
have to
tell.
determine.
We can't tell. How dare
Yeah,
it?
from this distance you cannot tell. So, but it does seem to be moving faster towards you than the previous mountain that you encountered, than Nest Mountain.
Does it look like it's on enough trajectory would be able to intercept it, or is it going to go faster than we'd be able to get to that like nexus of it?
Make a perception check. And yeah,
That would be a 19.
okay. So judging off of its distance and just kind of watching it for a moment, you estimate that if you just head directly south, you should be able to get in its intercept course before it reaches you, but you might need to head back east a little bit to ensure that as well. So heading southeast will guarantee it, heading south should.
And approximately how long would that take to get to an intercept point?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, so it's not like a day's travel out of the way. Got it.
No,
Okay.
because it's also heading in your direction. So
Right.
just if you stay where you're at, it'll just blaze right on past you. And if you continue north, you'll get even further away from it.
If we are okay to attempt that intercept, I don't believe it would be a substantial chunk of our day to connect with it. Though we may lose some time to recover after we disembark.
I mean, I guess we have to look is the detour and possibly getting more information gonna be valuable to us to take a couple hours out of our day? Or should we keep going on towards the Thousand Lakes and the Dragging Teeth?
I believe any piece of information we may acquire might be worth the delay, but I leave it up to the group.
At this
Go.
point, I feel like any sort of information we can get is good. Let's do that.
But it is moving in the opposite direction where we want to go, and we'll continue moving in the opposite direction where we want to go while we're on it. So that's a little bit of
Unless
a
we
problem.
turn it around. I don't know. if
We
that's something
could give
can do.
ourselves a brief time frame of trying to discern whether it's beneficial before we decide to disembark. May give us a little bit more insight into what we're looking for. But I agree, if it does not turn out to be fruitful quickly, then we should just disembark and try to regain any distance we've lost.
If we're all fine marching double to make up the distance, then I'm all right with it. But we're already short on time. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
think that's
If
right.
we
Double
if it-
time works.
Yeah, if we don't get anything useful in say the first hour,
Hour?
30 minutes,
Yeah.
then we bail.
All right, let's do this. We're catching the moving mountain.
As we start heading that direction, really quick, DM, can we see the base at all, or is it the whole base is obscured by this storm, right?
The whole base is obscured. You can only see peaks of it peeking out above the storm. You count 7 peaks.
As we close the gap, should we attempt to fly to get to the parts that we can see to prevent any calamitous interaction with what we can't in that storm?
Sure.
How?
So you have flight, don't you? Don't you have flight?
Zerdig? No.
I think we only have like you turned into an animal and Elandiel can do fly.
You have a lot of spider climb. That's what you used last time.
We have a lot of
Oh,
spider
right.
climb, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Zerdig
know
has
how
spider
much
climb
fly
for
you
days.
have, but you've got spider climb.
I wrote to you as a transformed lizard.
As I could cast polymorph on one of us who to like a giant eagle or a giant owl or something, and it would slow him down, but they could technically carry 2. I believed if we needed to. That's 3 people in motion to get up to it. But I thought somebody else had the ability to fly.
I will double check because now I'm making it down myself. I'm pretty sure. No, not for me at least.
See, doesn't look like Sadzi has fly. Doesn't look
I-
like Zerdig has
Only
fly.
second level spell I
Yeah, not
have
me.
is Gust of Wind.
It doesn't
Oh,
look like
then
any of you have fly.
Yeah, and fly is 3rd, right? So
Yeah.
And for some reason, I thought the last time we were talking about flying, like Saudi had the spell slot for it. But
Yeah.
Nope.
I might just be remembering wrong. and
Spider
apologize.
climb or feather fall. We talked about falling, and we have lots of feather fall, but
Yeah,
not
I have
lots
feather
of
fall.
flight.
I have spider climb because I have those shoes. But
I
I could
mean, the
still.
mountain is just off the ground, though, right? So we can spider climb up it like we did the last one.
Yeah, but then you got to go up through a storm.
Yep.
That's my only concern is getting to the base. If it's stormy, I don't want it to run us over.
We really need a catapult.
We have a cat.
Yeah, but
Excuse you.
I don't think the cat's strong enough to bolt us.
I'm not. My strength is garbage.
I think we should try it. Just for fun. Going about traveling mountains in the wrong, incorrect pattern is a habit.
But we could do the we could go against type and be the successful group instead of maybe making things worse.
Since when
Yeah.
have we ever done that?
Why start now? I mean, either way, I feel like either we accept that we may get our butts kicked by some storm stuff and climb up it like creepy, terrifying alien monsters, or we don't go after it.
In character, Zerg is going to cast out on this plan since none of us
Yeah.
can fly. Like, maybe we should just move on.
I mean, I guess we could, but what if it's the key?
I could send my Raven over there to check it out. Is it going fast? I guess that's not something I would
Dude,
know.
that's a much better plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
don't you
long
do that?
does Expeditious last? Yeah, I can put Expeditious on my Raven for 10 minutes.
Okay.
We
And
c- I g-
are you packed to the chain so you have like the
Yes.
communication anywhere on the plane? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy
we could
enough for you
still,
to do then.
and I think fine enough for us to take 20 minutes out of heading in that direction, so we're close enough that if there is something worth investigating, we could still make an attempt at it. Did you when I was observing it, did you tell us how fast it's going, or is it still indeterminate for like how? Would it be something we could run up on, or is it going like ridiculously fast?
It's going fairly fast. You don't know for sure how. Based off your perception, you got an idea of an intercept point. From that, you can kind of determine that it's moving about 3 times as fast as Nest Mountain was.
Relative for us to be able to catch something like that, or like, I mean, because Nest Mountain was like 5 miles an hour, right? So this is about uh 15, 20 miles an hour.
At least.
Okay, I do not have the Eldritch Invocation voice of the Chainmaster. So my familiar is an imp and smarter than normal, but I cannot talk to him from forever away.
Okay.
But he is an imp, so he's somewhat intelligent.
Right. I was
He'll
talking
have-
about
he'll
the
have to
being
come
able to
back and
see
tell
and
us.
hear through him.
Yeah,
right?
no, he'll have to
Okay.
come back and tell us about it.
Okay.
He does have 11 intelligence, which means he's smarter than a commoner.
Okay. So do you still want to head south to get closer, or are you just going to send him off to intercept on his own and continue on your own way?
He's gonna have, what is it? Does it double expeditious?
I mean, I think it's still worth the time to run up, get closer, whether or not we just get close enough that we can if necessary.
Okay, so he just gets to dash. So he'd be 120 feet around fly speed. Oh no, I'm sorry. He'd be 180 feet around because he's currently a Raven, so he has fly 60. Yeah, let's, I guess, kind of stay nearish, because if we decide it's a thing we want to go after, us going completely the wrong direction or really far away is not super helpful.
Okay.
He's gonna have to go over there, see if he sees anything that seems useful, and then come back and tell us. So
Correct.
he does only need to be within 100 feet of me.
He could still do that though. I mean, if we're walking the other way, why not, right? We can walk the other way, and then he'll go there, and surely hours later. But if he's like, "I found the cool thing," then
Yeah,
we could double back if we have to, but
yeah,
probably not.
and he's gonna go real fast. So
Let's do that.
all right.
Okay, so Raven heading towards the sandstorm, flying above it, towards one of the 7 peaks, and the rest of you continuing northward and westward towards the mountain range. Is that right?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. So, you all continue on heading further north. About 20 minutes later, as the mountain has gone past you at this point, as you're making your way further north and westward towards it, your raven comes flying back, lands on your shoulder. Can he speak, or is it just telepathy?
He speaks Infernal and Common.
Okay. So yeah, in common, he will speak to you and say, "The mountain is full of large Goliaths."
Large for Goliaths or large in general?
Large in general.
I'm gonna look at everyone else. How do we feel about this? Do Goliaths seem like something that might be helpful to us?
If they're peaceful and are willing to communicate information, I don't have an issue with it. Did your companion see if there was a place that we would be able to begin climbing or ascending the mountain?
It stayed above the storm, so no.
So I didn't investigate that. Got it.
Yeah.
I believe the best course of action is just to press on. Zerdik says, and you guys will
Yeah.
notice his demeanor's changed a little bit today. Like he's all business. He's like, "We're up against the clock. We're gonna save these 3 keen. Let's go."
Yeah, at this point, we don't have enough information to know if this is the right way, so let's keep going where we thought.
Okay.
Yeah, we should probably stick to the plan.
All right. So you continue on heading northward and westward. After about another 3 hours of travel, you see about 500 feet off in the distance a small lake.
Possibly,
water?
yay?
You do know that the Thousand Lakes kind of border the northern edge of the desert, and the mountain range. If you kind of find this, and you can just head westward from here, and you should reach the edge of the mountain range.
Nice. For 2 reasons. A, landmark. B, let's see if it's clean and fill up our canteens and stuff, because I'm sure walking around the desert is no fun.
I mean, Alondiel's been taking care of that for you.
He's been
I
giving us
also have
land water.
create and destroy water, so like I'm sure we've kept the party up and running.
Are there any trees?
Or he just walks up to the
There
lake and
are
is like,
not any
"Create, destroy
trees.
water, no more lake."
Curses, no trees.
You said it's a small lake. About how large? How small?
From what you can tell at this distance, you estimate that it's probably only about 100 feet across.
Okay, so like a good size pond. As we get closer to that, does it get noticeably cooler?
No, it's not cooling down any much. You are still very much in the desert. So,
yeah.
like, it kind of borders like the northern edge of it, And so if you're at the very southern of the Thousand Lakes, you're still miles from the northern edge of the desert.
I feel like we have 99 more of these to find.
So we throw Ore in the lake and continue.
Okay, so you do want to make your way up to the lake?
I feel like at least going near it is possibly useful, just from the perspective of landmark.
And we may want to
I
confirm that what we found is the beginning of the Thousand Lakes area, not just a possible oasis or something.
Okay.
I would keep my eyes out for any types of creatures, any type of disturbances to the sand, or is there vegetation surrounding this at all, like little oasis plants or anything?
There is not.
Okay. Certainly keeping my eye out for at least for tracks of beasts, creatures, signs of other visitors to this lake
Okay.
as we get closer.
Yeah, as you get closer, you do see that there are tracks leading up to the lake of various creatures, probably just searching for water to drink from. As you reach the lake and you kind of skirt around its edge, as you reach the northern side of the lake, you do see that there are more humanoid tracks heading further north and to the east.
And can I tell how recent these tracks are, or roughly how long it's been since other humanoids or other beasts have been here?
So the humanoid tracks you estimate are less than a day old. The beast tracks, they vary. There are some that are as recent as an hour ago.
And from the tracks, what kind of beasts would it appear to be? Do they match the scorpion style tracks that we've seen from the other scorpion raiders?
They do.
I'll convey that to the party. I believe within the last hour there have been scorpioners, or at least they're scorpions of the same size at this watering hole.
It's also beginning to reach the point in the day where it's getting unbearably hot, and you want to seek cover and camp before the sun bears down on you too badly.
There are sun bears?
Yes, yes, sun bears. Very
Yeah,
dangerous creatures.
I mean, I guess at this point, maybe set up a camouflagey spot here.
Say
Like-
a water hole would be much cooler than being out in the open desert.
Is there any
I
spot
concur.
close by where we could like keep an overwatch on the waterhole area, or is it all kind of flat because it's a lake?
It's all fairly flat around here. So
Does the sand change at all from being as loose as some of the dunes, or like does it get a little bit more compact with having that moisture nearby, or is it still just as sandy as everywhere else?
it's a little bit more compact as you get right around the lake edge, but as you start getting further out, it does become more of the loose what you're used to that the mountains have been driving through.
Gotcha. And how clear is the water? How deep can I see into it?
You can't see very far into it at all. It is very murky.
They've poisoned the water. Okay, I mean, I guess set up a spot nearby and keep an eye out. My first instinct is to send my Raven up to where he'll be at the limits of the 100 feet range and have him circle us to keep an eye out for anyone approaching from a distance, particularly large scorpion people.
Okay. So send him basically to the maximum range he can be to see
Yeah.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead
also-
and roll a
Yes.
perception check for your imp or raven, whatever it is right now.
It doesn't change any of his other settings, so perception. He has he has an 11. He got a 14.
A 14. Okay.
Look at him go.
All right. And you guys just setting up a place to kind of give yourself some shade, or are you taking a dip in the lake
Yeah.
to cool down?
I'm setting up near the lake, a little bit further away from where the pedestrian traffic is on that north side. Kind of coming, I'd say I'd go a little bit more to the west of the lake, and then try and set the tent up to be a little bit camouflaged from view of that spot.
Okay.
Give us a little bit of shelter, a little bit of stealth if we can.
Yeah, once the tent's up, Alondio will definitely at least wade out a little bit into it.
Okay.
Take his boots off, roll his pants up.
How
to,
far
like,
do you want to
mid-shin.
wade out?
No more than knee.
Okay. So you step out into the lake, and as you begin moving out there, it quickly drops in height, and you go from ankle to about waist deep instantly.
I turn around.
I think Ori should turn into a water animal and see if there's anything inside the lake.
I was just looking at my aquatic wild.
Is there a
looking
hippo?
for something.
Like an aquatic
uh,
animal that can hold its own, not like a goldfish.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I was
hippo.
looking at a giant seal or a giant poisonous snake. I was
There
looking
is
at
not a hippo.
Oh, bummer.
How is there not a hippo?
Hippos don't exist in Faerun.
Yeah, apparently not.
I don't.
I'm just gonna chill and like over by the shade there is, and y'all can play in the water with that nasty stuff.
It gets deep quick.
What would a hippo be? What would like an equivalent to a hippo be?
a bear.
I guess it'd be like
Just
a
with the swimming
walrus
speed.
or a bear. Yeah, walrus is.
For how
probably good.
dangerous they are, I think bear is a pretty good equivalent for what a hippo be in the world.
The Waterdhavian water bear.
All right, so you're turning into a sea creature of some kind.
I'm looking through my list right now, trying to, because I've turned into a crocodile before, but I was hoping I had a giant crocodile, but apparently I don't on list because it's under my challenge rating. So,
What's your challenge rating?
I can do up to half at this point.
Because he's not a moon druid.
Correct. I think I get up to challenge rating 1 when
Eventually.
I'm level 8. I think it's the next time I druid, because I'll get flying speed, and I think I get up to challenge rating 1.
Can you turn into a space eel?
I think a crocodile's pretty good. It's got decent enough stats. If something wanted to start with us, I'm in a pretty good play for it.
Okay.
What about a giant sea eel? Oh, it can breathe only underwater.
Yeah. See, a crocodile can still run up on shore if necessary.
Yeah, crocodiles are good.
All right. So you turn into a crocodile and swim into the water?
Before I turn into a crocodile, I'm going to look at my spells and see if there's something I can give me for a little bit of a buff before I change.
Okay, and a crocodile can hold its breath for 15 minutes. Okay.
I'm gonna cast Shield of Faith on myself, giving me a +2 in crocodile form, and then I'm going into the water. So my AC will be 14 while I'm in the crocodile form.
Okay. All right. So you swim out into the water and begin diving down into the lake, and it does get deep rapidly. About another step beyond where Alondiel went, you would be in over your head. And as you continue swimming down, it just goes deeper and deeper and gets narrower and narrower until it seems like you're in a tunnel underneath the sands.
I'm going to try and stay clear of any rapid current that might start yanking on me. And while I'm in there, I am actively searching for any other signs that might be in this water.
You don't see any other creatures in this water.
And does it feel like there's a current as it gets deeper into that center?
It does not. And it takes you about 5 minutes to kind of reach the bottom before you can't go any deeper and you can just swim out underneath where you started.
Okay. When I kind of get to that bottom, the deeper bottom floor, do I notice anything on the bottom? Bodies, vegetation,
Yeah, so
knickknacks.
so there's a bit of vegetation growing up, but there's no bodies. You do notice that it's no longer sand at the bottom here. It is entirely stone. And as the tunnel goes out, it is essentially like a pipe, completely surrounded, and you can swim on down it.
Okay. And you said that's about 5 minutes of swimming to get to that point.
Hmm.
I am. I'm.
Which gives you
I'm going
10
to
minutes
journey.
left of holding your breath.
I'm going to just take a very brief glimpse, kind of poke my head into that pipe to see is it something large enough that I can fit into it?
Yeah, you can fit into it,
Okay.
even as a large
I'm going to
crocodile.
very cautiously proceed just a few feet into the entrance, trying to make out what might be in there or how far deep down it might go.
Okay. You just see darkness to the end of your 300-foot dark vision. You don't see anything else. It's just this pipe keeps on going from what you can tell. Getting an idea of where you're at, it's heading towards the northeast, is where this is heading.
Okay. So it's heading towards the northeast. It's a tunnel. Does it look is it made out of stone like the regular rest of the bottom is, or is
Yes.
it okay? And does it look like it's a natural occurrence, or does it look carved?
It looks natural.
And from my perspective of my 300 feet, it just goes.
It just goes straight.
Okay, I will. I will kind of using the remaining time. I'm going to try and circle the lake coming up and kind of just keep inspecting the ground down here to see if anything else catches my eye, anything that whether it's creatures, signs of other things, anything that may be down here unnaturally, just kind of keep a look at it as I make my way back up to the surface.
Okay. Yeah, there isn't anything else unusual about this lake as you're ascending back up.
Okay. And then after I guess closer to that 15 minutes, I'm gonna reach the surface about 30 feet from the edge and just kind of do that crocodile thing where my eyes come up and see and kind of give a scout around not just our campsite but the rest of the lake, looking for anything else that might be working its way towards the lake as I start trying to go to our little secret den hidden tent.
Okay, yeah, you don't notice anything. And for those of you that have been up here the entire 15 minutes, nothing's come anywhere close to you. Your raven circling in the sky hasn't alerted you to anything, Mizeki.
Good to know.
And so you see Mecha crocodile come trolloping out of the water towards the tent, and then the little starry effect, and I turn back into regular Ore. Walk up. It is fairly deep, and at the bottom of it is stone with a tunnel pretty directly northeast from here. Nothing else of interest was found in there, but it is surprisingly deep.
That's what she said.
Do we have any mechanism to breathe underwater for all of us? I don't think we do.
No, because that
I
would be
may
water
be able
breathing
to
as
have
the.
that ready if we decide to stay for the evening. But do we want to venture in towards the Thousand Lakes or continue on our journey heading east from here?
Well, we were given
West.
directions that once we hit the Thousand Lakes, if we go to the west, we will hit the mountain range that we need to go to. So Zerdig would just be down to do that, even though this sounds super cool and he wants to investigate it more.
We could make a note to return here once we have investigated the Shattered Teeth.
Yeah. Do we have like a map or something where we can mark it or at least make a note of it so that we can come find it later?
Yeah, I've been making a map the whole time we've been traveling based on what I can discern.
Cool. I have no aptitude for that.
Ore doesn't either. He just likes to do it.
It's just something I've been working on.
I'm just imagining the map. It's just like cool little stick figures.
Yeah, I don't remember where it was. I think it was in Drusus. Forever ago, I bought like cartography tools, and the astrolabe is in itself a cartography tool, which I
How
don't know why I
many
didn't take proficiency.
how many third level spells do you guys have between Inlandiel and Ore? Like available, not like can
Oh,
cast.
with like
Not
slots?
slots.
I have
Not
slot. Okay, I
slots.
see what you're saying.
Yeah, just spells. Because
As of today, I have what?
water breathing is a ritual that lasts 24 hours
Mhm.
and has no concentration requirement.
Mhm.
I feel like we should just be casting that on ourselves every morning.
Which is very likely to do. I just don't have it prepared today.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not on my list.
so we should probably start doing that, I feel like.
Now that you've reached water.
Yeah. Well, just in general, like if it ever water just appears suddenly, we're like, haha, we prepared for this.
What
Well, you
time of
have
day is
because
it?
Alandiel's cast water walk on you. So if water
Yeah.
just appears, you
Yeah.
bounce to the top.
Oh,
It's true.
hey, would that mean? Well, okay, so he has to do it once every hour. So me turning into a crocodile, I wouldn't have been able to descend into the water.
You
Yeah.
can cancel it for free.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I would have dismissed it anyway. Okay.
And what time of the day is it in game right now?
So at this point, it would be a little bit past like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
So getting to the bad times.
So
Yeah.
Zerdig would be all for,
Yeah, which is why he
moving
set up
on.
the camp. So,
but yeah, that is true. The storms, right?
well, it's the blazing hot of the sun. You kind of want to move at the coolest time of the morning and the warmest time of the night, so that you're not
All
dealing
right.
with the extreme
Time to
temperatures.
take our long rest and get water breathing.
So,
if that's what we're doing legitimately, because we have to stop anyways,
Yeah.
Zerdig's not opposed to exploring this underground water cave, but only if it looks like it's heading west also.
no, it was heading
Heading
northeast,
Northeast,
same
okay.
as the humanoid tracks from the lake.
Oh.
So,
Well, not as down then.
We've
I mean,
gotta
he's
spend
we
some
should
time
still
here
long
anyway.
rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would probably want a long rest and then head west again. But he's not the only one in the party, so
Let's see how we feel after our rest, maybe, if anything changes. But
Because
I'm
our
kinda down with. Go ahead.
yeah, our split rests are like roughly 4 hours of the day, right?
yeah, it's about 4 or 5 hours, which that's enough time for the elves to rest every time.
yeah. I mean, Zeki can just stay in his ball for a little while longer, and we can carry him. So I guess Sadzi is the one that really we have to figure out. Sadzi and Mizeki can both go into the party house, and then we can carry you guys, and you guys can long rest in there.
Mizeki can't take other people into the party
Yeah,
house
I can't
yet.
bring friends. It's a party of one.
If we
I
go
already said he
6
wasn't
hours,
gonna
I
bring
get my
Brian.
full rest.
Too bad Ito's not here. We could just have Sadzi have him just pick up Sadzi. after
I
the rest.
mean, technically, I can carry Sadzi, but
But
if
How
I'm
restful is
resting
it really
too,
to be
yeah,
carried for 2
yeah.
hours? Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess not anybody else would need the long rest, just whoever's going to cast water breathing, right? And you can cast that on like 8 or 10 characters, right?
Up to 10 people, yeah.
Up to 10 people, yeah. So the full party should be like after someone gets the spell, then yeah.
Including my familiar.
Including your swimming raven. That's correct.
Sure. I mean, he can turn into other things.
So I mean, Zerdig is fine with the same plan we had with the floating isle. If we want to like check it out for an hour, doesn't seem like a big deal because we still have a few days left, but we are cutting it close.
Agreed. Don't want to spend too much time here. While we're resting, it makes sense to do a little exploring, but
How many days
catch
do we
up.
have left, DM?
I don't believe you were given a timeline for this. You were given a timeline to meet Aegon, which you
Yeah.
did, and then he sent you on your way, but I don't remember giving you a timeline from there.
So we don't have like a specific set of days, but it's still like pressing, right? We can't just be like, oh hey, we came back 3 months later. Are you guys still alive?
Yeah, like
Well,
you're in a hurry because they can't restock on supplies very easily because they're stationary anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They're sitting ducks, as it were.
yeah,
They're at risk of being raided, as well as the longer it takes to get to the teeth, the lower the probability of finding anybody from Nest. Okay, that decreases too.
And how long has it been since we left Ist?
I believe this is the third day.
Yeah, that's
Third day?
my
Okay.
notes say.
Yeah, like basically
I
we've
wasn't
done a
sure if it-
session a day. So
That's kind of how I thought it was, and so I wasn't sure if it was like 3 or 4 days. If it kind of like if we
yeah,
kicked 2 days out in one of them.
right. Well, because you've run into Scorpion Riders every day, and so combats take a long time in the session. So
I
All
get
right,
it.
yeah. Let's long rest and let's explore. This is Zerdig's vote.
okay, so you're taking the 4 hours you need to long rest to prepare water breathing, and then you're going to explore. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think Ore has to be the one who's preparing water breathing, right?
I mean, I can get it. That shouldn't be a problem. I'm just changing out.
Okay, so that's 6 hours for Ore. Is his trance is 6 hours. So
Technically, the other humanoids are 6 hours too, right? Because they have to be resting for 6 hours out of an 8-hour period.
yeah,
Yes. And then we have to do anything that's no more difficult than just kind of walking around.
Oh, hey, I was wrong. I can make it. So it just depends on what you guys want to do. But Zerdig can prepare water breathing. With it's not a spell for him. He's clearly going to make up a water breathing device for all of us on the fly. It'll be steampunk magic.
Little snorkel masks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm down. That's the fastest way that we can do it.
Does anyone actually need the long rest? Because I think we just rested like in game wise. I don't think we've done anything today, right?
no,
Yeah, no.
No,
I'm-
we saw the mountain just after we finished a rest for the evening.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as done anything, I mean, we haven't gone on combat, right? Like, no one's like down on head points or like things like that.
no,
Nope, all good.
So if that's the case, yeah, let's just do the 4 hours, and then Zerdig can cast on everybody. He'll give you your own little like Star Wars snorkel devices, and then we'll jump in. And then for those 2 extra hours, we can basically go explore. So we can explore for 2 hours really, because we'd be here for 2 hours anyways if we wait for someone else to prepare it.
Pretty much.
Does that sound good?
I'm good. I'd like to go into the water.
Oh, Sadzi posted a cute cat gif. Are you not coming in the water, Sadzi? You're just gonna be like, peace, see ya.
I can think of about 500 things I'd much rather do than intentionally submerge myself in water. including setting myself on fire. I'll stay here and mind the
Okay.
camp.
Perfect. Is anyone else staying up, or is everyone else gonna jump? We probably should leave
I'm
someone.
going in the water.
Like Zerdig will probably leave Z2 with Sazi.
That's fair.
I am a very poor swimmer, so I'll stay up too.
Whoever's going down as the water gets darker and murk, I can give you the dark vision.
I've got at least 120 feet already, so. But can you give it to all of us?
I
Or
can.
several of us?
I
then
give it
yeah,
up
no
to
worries.
5 others other than myself, and that's everybody else in the party.
All right, cool. I guess Mizaki's going down because horses can swim great, apparently.
Yeah,
With a
So
little
we've
help from your
got
friends.
it's magic.
Mizeki, Zerdig, and Ori are the ones who are going.
Yes. So
And
it's
my
Sadzi and
friend Lair.
Alondiel on surface, and then us 3 going down.
If Alondiel, well, I guess Z2 probably can't swim up. I mean, like mechanically he can, but lore-wise that seems a little fishy.
He can walk
So,
up.
Yeah, we'll keep Z2 up here. I was like, I kind of want him, but we'll keep him up there. The gun's not going to work underwater, so I guess we'll keep his gun up here. Tell Alondiel to
wouldn't
guard with his
actually-
life.
I wouldn't actually need water breathing because I don't breathe anyway.
Oh,
Then
right.
Zerdig will just cast it on Mizeki and himself. I guess Ori can have a 4-hour head start to scout it out, unless he gets eaten by a whale or something.
Oh, I would have waited. I'd have waited for the. Ori's learning. It's like he's a little brash to jump into things, but after a while, he's learned it's better to go with friends.
Yeah, like I didn't even think about that when I was just like, how long can crocodiles
I
hold their
didn't
breath
think about
for?
it
I just
either.
pulled it up. I was like, okay.
Until you started talking about Z2, and I'm like, well, he doesn't breathe. Oh wait, I don't either.
True. All right, we're gonna bring Z2 back. I changed my mind. We're gonna bring him back because he doesn't need to breathe, and so he's a good scout, and we can also send him back to talk to Sadzi and Alondiel if needed.
Okay. So Z2, Ore, Zerdig, and Mizeki all going down into the lake.
Yeah.
And my
The
familiar.
cleric and the sorcerer hanging out at the camp. 'Cause
Bye-bye,
those
boys.
are the
Have
two that
fun
you
storming the
definitely want to
castle.
leave alone.
Yes.
It will be fine.
No, it's the other way around. I'm more worried for us than for them because if they get ambushed, they have their magic to help each other. If we get ambushed, well, we still have some magic, but it's not ideal.
If we get ambushed, I'm casting Water Walk, and we're going to run to the middle of the lake and drop prone.
We're gonna be like 500 feet in that tunnel and just start slamming against the surface of the ceiling.
Don't worry. What's the worst that could happen?
Okay.
Never ever ask that.
So Zerdig, what do your water breathing masks look like for you and Mizeki?
They look like steampunk rebreathers.
Okay.
So they're in our mouths so that we can breathe. So we probably can't talk very well. It probably sounds like, bubble speech. So like hand gestures and stuff.
Okay. And
And for the raven. There's a little cute one for the raven too.
Okay. And then do any of you have swim speed?
No.
Okay.
Does water breathing give you a swim speed, like moving
No.
at regular?
No.
No.
It's
it-
just
It just
breathing.
makes it so you don't die in the water.
yeah.
The one that gives you the swim speed is the transform.
That is also a little bit terrifying because, well, we can all swim because it's D&D, but if you couldn't, you'd have to, you'd be stuck down there. But anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
Ignore
No, I
that.
was just getting an idea for time because it took the crocodile, who does have a swim speed, 5 minutes to reach the bottom.
yeah, so it's gonna take
So-
us like 10 plus.
Yeah.
And like Ore can just walk and then just fall to the bottom of the water.
Yeah,
Unless you're all of a sudden buoyant. But yeah. Okay. So you guys, yeah, you swim down after the 10 minutes, a little bit longer. You reach the bottom where it has turned to stone, and you see the tunnel ahead that Ore had mentioned. Ore had peeked in and could just see darkness for his 300 feet.
Can we hear Ore talking underwater?
You cannot.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
he's
So we basically can't communicate very well, which is
yeah.
awesome.
You communicate through gestures. Ore's giving you all the 300 feet of darkness, and you can all breathe just fine. And you begin making your way down the tunnel. About 200 feet down the tunnel, Ore, since you all have 300 feet of dark vision now down here, you can see far enough ahead at this point that you can see that the tunnel splits, one continuing north, one continuing east. So instead of heading northeast by itself, it splits into a north and an east tunnel.
I will, as we get to that fork in the tunnel, do we see anything down either of those tunnels for the 300 feet?
You do not.
Or he looks back at the other two and just kind of shrugs.
I mean, let's pick one.
Zerdu just
chalk?
points north.
Yeah, does chalk work underground?
Does chalk work
Underwater?
underwater is the question.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think so.
underground.
I don't think so. Because like
I think
chalk
it
washes
does.
off with water really easy.
I'm like 90% sure you can use chalk underwater. Because it's not like street chalk. It's marking chalk.
Yeah.
I don't know. How long does
with whichever one's like started going, it was Zerdig started to go north, right?
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
it's been about 20 minutes since you descended down into the lake at this point when you reach the fork.
Oh no, we've only got 23 and a half hours of water breathing left.
Ore is gonna kind of take a step in the northern tunnel and then look back and then hold up like 3 fingers and then kind of tap his wrist, denoting time, and then like give another shrug, trying to indicate like 30 minutes.
Zerdu will give him a thumbs up and like, let's keep going.
Ore nods and starts heading north.
All right. You continue swimming north, just seeing darkness ahead of you your entire time. After you've traveled about 2,000 feet, you finally see ahead of you a much larger opening.
Is there light from that much larger opening? Like we're coming up to another lake?
You can't see any light where you're at, but you can see that the tunnel definitely expands. Your best guess is that you're coming out into another one of the 1,000 lakes.
Okay. Continuing to proceed with caution.
bonus lake?
If we scout out this larger cavern and we look up, do we see light up above?
Yeah, so once you get out and into the cavern, you can see that it is light up above you. You can also see that there are about 15 pairs of feet in the water around the edge of the lake. This
Oh,
lake
above us?
is, yeah, this lake is significantly larger than the one that you were in before.
When you say feet, do you mean like attached to people, or are they just floating feet?
You assume that they're attached to people, but you cannot see
We
the
can't
rest of the
tell.
people.
And they're obviously humanoid feet, not of creatures.
Correct.
Are they floating up and down, or are they floating at weird angles?
Or like walking along the edge of the water.
So they're along the edge of the water. They're not walking.
Okay.
They're just kind of like someone sitting at the edge of the lake and just put their feet in.
So we thought it was gonna be a horror movie for us, but what you're telling us is we have an opportunity to make it a horror movie for them.
It's time to create destroy water.
Um, Are they all on one side, or are the feet essentially surrounding the entirety of this body of water on this
Oh,
side?
no, they're all on one side. It's only 15 pairs of feet, and this is a much, much larger lake than the
A
ones you
lot
guys
of
came from.
feet.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Like, to
Um,
surround this, you would need about 200 people.
Gotcha. So Ore is going to kind of gesture to the other side of the lake and start like kind of creepy walking the edge, like he's going to just kind of poke his eyes up a little bit from the far side of the lake to see like not only how many people are in the lake, but how many might be on the outside of the lake, and kind of watching to see if there's anything moving on the shoreline. Get closer.
Okay, so you want to get up to where you can see uh, the full figures of the people.
Yes, but from the other side of so I'm giving myself plenty of distance where less likely for them to see me unless they're right on the shore. And even then, kind of, how you like coming out of you can kind of see, or a pool, you can kind of see what's on the edge. Trying to give myself cover to not like walk up in front of somebody next to me on the beach.
Okay. Yeah.
Just enough to like poke my up if necessary.
So yeah, as you get
Zerdig is going.
up,
Oh, sorry. Before he does that, Zerdig is going to futilely point towards the raven, like, let's have the raven do it. But I assume fails because I think Ore is probably like, I'm doing this, and then goes and does it.
Well, you can run up and like tap me on the shoulder and point to your raven, and I'd like kind of shrug like, oh, okay.
Can I use prestidigitation to make or minor illusion to make a small amount of text in my hand? I guess I can make a lot of text. I have up to a 5-foot cube.
yeah, I was
In
gonna
a
say, like,
5-foot
unless you
cube.
create an image,
Yeah.
so sure.
Create an image of an object. Cool. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just make
Piece
a
of
bunch of
parchment with a
writing.
writing on it, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna make a whiteboard or a chalkboard, I guess, because we don't know what whiteboards are, and we can discuss our plan briefly by pointing at things.
Okay. Well, as you're doing that, Ore swims up to where he can see
Or
them.
I just
Oh, no.
fucks off.
If like Mazeki got my attention, I would have stopped.
Yeah, I'm
before I
gonna
got
make
to
a board for us to discuss our plan and try and facilitate the two that can't speak with pointing.
Okay.
All right. So the plan is something goes above, finds out who these people are, and then question mark.
Yes.
If they're friendly, we go up and introduce ourselves. I mean, that's kind of weird, right? Like, hey, we came out of the lake. What's up? And if they're not friendly, then we ambush
We
them.
are we are lake nomads.
Well, if we get up there and it's obvious, like scorpion riders, like kind of like do the cut your throat symbol of like, no, we do this. But if it is like a civilization or a nomads or like a group of merchants or something, like probably less inclined to start some stuff. We can kind of
Yeah.
weigh the option.
Well, the other thing we have to consider too is if it is scorpion riders, there's 15 of them, and there's 3.5 of us. So we probably
Sure.
don't want to try and ambush
Yeah,
15
like
of them.
certainly not going to engage the scorpion riders if it's the scorpion riders.
Unless Ori can like get them all in a fireball or something.
I don't have fireball, but certainly could do this my lightning storm.
Your lightning, yeah. But probably best not to. Let's just scout it out and see what it is, and then maybe go back. Because by the time we're done with this, we'll have been almost an hour, so that gives us time to get back within the 2-hour time frame we told Sadzi and
Right.
Elendil about.
Oh, by the time you've made it here, it's been an hour. By the time you've made it here, so turning back now would be your 2-hour time frame, and not investigating them at all.
They can wait for a couple extra minutes.
Yeah.
Do verbal components work underwater?
Technically, no,
Okay.
because you can't speak them. So
Unless
Well,
you're a
here's the
sorcerer
question
with
though, because you can speak, you just can't really be heard.
What if I
Yeah.
use message?
Message requires a verbal component.
Yeah, but does the verbal component stop me from them hearing me?
Right.
I don't know. Like, it's magic.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say verbal components don't work under the water unless you have like a way to breathe underwater that doesn't affect your mouth. So like since you guys have something in your mouth to breathe underwater, you just can't do it.
I
Or
should teach
or
my
it's
mage
fine since he
hand.
doesn't breathe. So
Yeah, I should teach my mage hand sign language because it's dexterous.
Or you
Next
could
time,
just learn sign language.
well, Zerdig can also improve on the design next time, so we have like air bubble from our mouths, and so it'll work.
Sounds good.
It's been an hour of us traveling underwater, so we're slower at movement, right?
yeah.
So this is about a half hour northeast of where Stodzi and Alondial are.
Yeah, so you went 500 feet northeast, and then you turned north, and you went about another 2,500 feet.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I see where you're going. Because we could just go
then
up and then walk back.
exactly like we like heading back. Let them know like in this direction there's another pond full of people. If we and kind of again we can make an assessment, with the team versus engaging them now after we find out what the Raven sees.
That sounds fair.
Okay. So as you guys are down there formulating your plan, you notice that several of the feet stand up and get out of the water, and you see a few of the others kind of scooch off to the side to make space in the middle, so that there's like 3 set of feet on the right and 5 set of feet on the left, and then there's this big open space in the middle where the rest of the people got up. And after about 10 seconds, you see several people dive into the lake.
How far away? Because we're still near the bottom.
Yeah, you're still
How
at the bottom
far?
making this plan.
And
How
what do they look like?
how deep is this away from the surface where they're coming into the water?
So they're only diving in about maybe 10 feet at the lowest, is what they get when they just kind of dive in. So they're not seeing you because you're far enough down, but you can still see them. They are a mix of human and elves, and you do notice that a few of them seem to have gills.
Ooh, elves. Sweet. Sea elves. Man, this is like Zerdig's dream adventure. He's meeting all the different types of elves everywhere. It's amazing.
Not
they-
sea
do they-
elves.
Do they remind
Ooh.
us of the Simic hybrids we found in the desert
Lake
the
elves.
previous day?
They do.
Got ya.
I don't remember. Were those people nice or not?
No,
He
they
was-
were Scorpion Raiders.
Yeah, he was a scorpion rider.
Oh, yeah. Jerks. All right, well, that's a bummer.
So as they have dove in, gone down about the 10 feet, they seem to start swimming around and playing some sort of game in the water. And they begin diving down deeper, those of them with gills.
I'm going to tap these guys on the shoulder and kind of gesture back towards the tunnel.
I'm gonna point at my bird and make him go invisible, and then also gesture back towards the tunnel. Invisible ocean bird.
Invisible ocean bird.
And I guess he can go check it out because he'll be within 100 feet of me still.
Until
that sounds
he
like a
gets
good
to the
plan.
top.
Well,
Which-
yeah, but
Yeah.
he can pop back in and out.
Yeah, because you guys are about 200 feet down.
Even though these Scorpion Raiders have been nothing but trouble for us this entire time, and our guide told us, hey, watch out, you can attack them on sight, Zerdig's still not in a place where he feels like, hey, let's kill them in cold blood, because he's not evil.
Also, shooting out of a lake and murdering people, that seems like Homelander kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You also don't know that these are scorpion riders. You just know that these are Simic hybrids.
Well, that would be double tragic if it's like, hey, you're a Scorpion Rider and you just like massacre a bunch of folks, and it's like, oh, we're the bad guys. So yes, Zerdig is totally down with just let's go back the slow way
Yeah,
through the
let's
tunnel and
have
go
him
talk
check
to
it
them.
out and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, have the Raven go up and go invisible and check it out and listen in, and then come back maybe.
Okay. So the Raven swims up past the Simic hybrids that are playing in the water, getting up into the open air again, taking in a nice deep breath of fresh air and kind of looking around. It zips around for a bit and then dives back down to come and report to you. As it gets close enough, it does have a telepathic link with you, right? That it can actually communicate underwater here with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Within
It lets
100,
you know that
so.
this seems to be a camp of some sort. There are about 100 people up here when you get here, and they have been running around playing, and there are several women and children as well as men, and they all seem to be kind of a nomadic tribe of sorts. No reports of any scorpions.
We just swim out of the lake and say, "Surprise! Hello, new friends." Just kidding. We don't do that.
I mean, I feel like we should maybe go say hi.
Like, if we're gonna do that, let's get out on the opposite side of the lake and then
Yeah.
approach normally. Yeah, instead of like appearing next to them. What you doing?
So Mazeki, you let us know like roughly what he told you. Like there's 100.
Yeah, he'll just print the text
Gotcha.
and show you like, hey, this is what we see, because he's got a 5-foot cube worth of text space.
Right.
But he does it in a Rubik's Cube, so it's all mixed up. You have to solve it first.
You have to rotate it. Yeah, of course.
What? This doesn't make any sense.
You got to spend the yellow side.
It's like those signs where they want you to read them in columns or the other way, and you get confused, and then you read them all in order.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ore's going to gesture like back to the tunnel, like let's go. Back to the others.
We'll head back.
Okay, so you're heading back through the tunnel. You're not popping out to say hi.
Not yet.
Okay. You make your way back down to the tunnel. When you get the fork, you head southwest and arrive about 2 hours and 30 minutes after you left and pop back out into the water. Sadzi and Alandiel, and I guess Z2 was with you guys there. I totally forgot about him that whole time. But yeah, so Sadzi and Alandiel, the 2 hours come and they aren't back yet. What do you want to do?
Honestly, I will probably assume that they lost track of time.
Not that they died a horrible, terrible death.
Not yet. Not going to jump to that yet.
No, I
probably,
mean, Ore came back and said, "There's nothing in here but this one random tube," and I'm like, well, as long as they have rebreathers, they should be fine. And I'm sure someone was smart enough to have a rope.
I mean, why do we need a rope? We can just swim up.
All right. So as you're just kind of sitting and waiting there, about half an hour goes, and you see their foreheads pop up out of the water.
I sigh a little relief.
I may have fallen asleep. It's warm.
Ore comes walking out of the water, and you just see all manner of water drain from various crevices on his figure and out of the breastplate.
Meanwhile, Mazeki comes out and is just almost immediately clean and dry. Prestidigitation.
Zerding is not as magnificent as either of these gentlemen, but he'll come out, take out the rebreather,
mumble to himself like, gotta redo the design, and then be like, oh yeah, there's people, there's folks over there, like 100 of them, not Scorpion Riders,
Yeah,
probably.
no scorpions. Either they are not scorpion riders, or they've left their scorpions elsewhere.
Some of them had the same modification that we had found on the individual we interrogated yesterday with the gills. They were
What
able
if
to
this
swim.
is the Scorpion Riders' home base? Because surely the raiding parties go out from home and then come back.
That was very much along the conclusion I was making as well.
They're only a few thousand feet away from where we're at here overland. So the question is, do we approach them and try and parlay, or perhaps they're not affiliated, but they have many similarities physically, or do we avoid them and just head west?
How in that direction? I know it's flat around this lake. Are there any obvious dunes or mountains or other geography preventing us from seeing that far in that direction, or is it pretty flat for some distance?
So as you get further and further away from each lake, the dunes do build up again, so you can't see that far in that direction.
But there's not like a high point that's noticeably close in that direction that we'd be able to
Yeah, there's not a
kind of
high
hike up.
point, but
Gotcha. It is possible that they are friendly and are not affiliated with the Scorpion Riders. They also may have more information on this territory, seeing as they are utilizing one of these lake ponds.
I mean, it's probably,
They are relaxing.
yeah, it's probably worth like going over peacefully and seeing if they can give us any info about where we are, what we're gonna find. And if not, we just leave.
Remind me that the Raven did not see any scorpions,
correct.
and it was approximately 100 people or so there as an encampment with tents.
Yeah.
Probably doing the same thing we're doing.
So should we pop over there and say hi and ask them if they can help us?
Yeah.
I concur. Certainly proceeding with caution and trying to get a little bit better vantage on the encampment outside of the water from our perspective to see if there is any threat. But I don't believe we should be assuming everyone we run into out here is aligned with Scorpion Raiders.
Fair. It would be a miserable place to be if that was true.
I concur.
All right. I guess we'll pop over and say hello. See if they want to hang out and tell us cool things.
Okay. So you're going to use some of your travel time to head back over there. Okay. So you make your way around to the northeastern side of the lake, where the humanoid tracks that you saw were, and begin following them. And as they go about 500 feet, they turn north, and then you continue on until you see the encampment up ahead. And you can see this is essentially like a small town as far as tents go, just set up everywhere. And the people seem to just be having a good time and enjoying themselves. There
Burning
are
Man.
more people out and around in the lake at this point, and several children just running about in the sand, playing around, playing games. Do you call out as you are approaching, or just continue to approach?
I feel like saying hello rather than just walking up to them is probably a safer safety bet.
Yeah, not necessarily kind of coming in all sneaky like, but kind of waving our hands and just kind of approaching friendly.
We forgot the casserole.
Dang it. I thought
Alondiel
you
has
guys were
create
making it.
food, right?
Yeah, Alondiel, I was gonna say Alondiel can make that
Yeah, but it
casserole.
I do.
specifically says it sucks.
Well, that's why I bought seasoning.
Okay. So who's
Alright.
calling out? And what language do you call out in?
Did the Raven confirm that they were all elvish,
There are humans and
nature?
elves.
humans and elves? Or I would just kind of, wave a little and say hello.
Yeah,
It
common.
depends. Can we hear what language they're speaking?
You
Oh yeah.
can't. There seem to be a mix of languages happening from what you can tell. You do hear bits and pieces of Elvish and bits and pieces of Common here and there, but there are a few other languages that you don't understand also being spoken.
I'm gonna do comprehend language.
Okay. That lets you just understand them, not know what language it is, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You can understand the literal meaning. Yeah.
Okay.
Just in case.
Okay. So Ore, you call out and begin waving. A few of the people near the lake kind of look over at you, and they kind of size you up for a moment before turning back to the lake, and one of them runs off towards the tents.
What's the Does this position change a little bit when they see us? Even the one that's running off to the tents, does he have a does he seem to be like anxious or alert with our presence, or is everybody kind of still chill?
Everybody's pretty chill. The one that ran off does seem like he's in a bit of a hurry, but doesn't seem concerned.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do you continue approaching, or are you stopping and waiting to see what happens?
I mean,
Approach slowly.
yeah, let's be rude.
Certainly not with any kind of hostile or aggressive intent. Just a meandering towards the lake.
Yeah, if there's people with food, that's usually a good place to start. So if we see someone with like a cookout or something, amble that direction.
Okay. As you continue approaching, you see the guy that ran off comes back, being followed by a very elderly gentleman, and he's pointing off in your direction and indicating for the elder to look in your way. As the elder looks up, he begins slowly making his way over towards you.
About how far away is he?
He's on the opposite side of the lake from you guys. So at this point, he's still about 800 feet away.
Can we walk to intercept without going through like the heart of their camp?
Yeah,
Or-
because the camp's on the opposite side of the lake from you.
Yeah, I'd walk in his direction. not going through their stuff, but to clear like, yeah, we're not like a threat. We'll meet you.
Okay. All right. As you continue on, he meets you on the north side of the lake before you reach their camp. He looks you all up and down. We don't get many travelers. What group are you from?
We are an envoy tasked by the Mountain Ist to look into a situation they are currently dealing with.
So the floating belt has sent envoys to the Thousand Lakes for help. Well, what can we help you with?
So this is the technical region of the Thousand Lakes. We are out of the desert
Well,
at
the
this point.
Thousand Lakes is still within the desert, but if you continue further north, you will escape.
I see. Would you by chance know how far west and we reach the Dragon Teeth?
The Dragging Teeth Mountains are about 2 days from here westward. If you
Excellent.
stay about this far north, you will continue passing several lakes along your way. Should help you stay cool during the hot days.
Thank you. That is very helpful.
Just curious, but you know of the floating belt and the moving mountains. Have you ever heard of a mountain that used to move and just stopped?
We'd heard some rumors that one of the mountains had stopped recently, but we don't venture past the southern edge of the lakes. So we have not confirmed this for ourselves.
Living so close to the mountains, do your people have any stories about what might make them move, or what you think is the cause of the floating belt existing?
Some god at some point thought it would be funny, made a move.
I mean, that does sound like something the gods would do, yes.
I will say it was pretty unexpected, seeing that for the first time.
You get used to it. We occasionally go and camp at the very southern edges and see what mountains get close.
From where we are talking to him, can we see any of the swimmers a little better? Any that we can obviously tell have gills from this distance?
Yeah, so there are several of them with gills. There are a few with some other modifications as well. But the ones that you saw swimming earlier are the ones that had gills. And there were about 7 of them.
Gotcha. I see that several of you have modifications. We encountered a few individuals in our travels across the desert that also had modifications. Do you have any information on where the modifications have come from?
Yeah, there was a jerk that came to this area a long time ago, started taking people for experimentation. Usually children, a few adults. Said he would make their lives better.
And did any of the people he took ever come back?
There are several of them here. Not all of them are happy with what he did. Several of them are still haunted by everything they went through. Most have learned to adapt to their new features.
Do you have any more information on this individual that came through here? How you said it was some years ago. Do you have an approximate time or any information on where he has traveled to or where he came from?
I know where he's traveled to. He's at the bottom of one of the lakes. I put him there myself.
I see. Do I trust his statement?
Make an insight check.
That's a 19.
I got an 18.
You can tell he's
Swear.
filled with genuine rage just talking about this guy, and he's telling you the truth.
I apologize. We don't mean to cause any concerns or aggravate a Portic. We're just looking into the possibilities of why the mountain may have stopped. Um, how long ago was this individual sent to the bottom of one of the lakes?
About 5 years ago.
And how long has the mountain not been moving?
Like
A couple of months?
6 months.
6 months. Got it. Okay. Thank
Am
you.
Am I allowed to take out my staff and just quietly start like pretending to polish it?
Sure.
Any reactions?
No.
We encountered some raiders that had interesting characteristics. Not what we'd normally see on some humans or elves. Sounds like this person was visiting multiple villages near the lakes. Is that correct?
They visited several. But the people you speak of, they came from us. People leave thinking that they can get a better life working with the bandits. They're no longer welcome if they ever try and come home.
Do you often encounter the Scorpion Riders amongst your camp?
They know not to come this far north.
Understood.
Elandio, did you ever draw a picture of Typhon from when we were unearthing his lab?
I've got some of the statues. I don't think this is him, though. It sounds like whoever was going around altering people rather than trying to alter nature. But I can show it out. I can pull it out. Like pull out the picture. Does it look anything like this person?
Yeah.
Never seen that person before in my life.
Okay. The plot thickens.
So there's someone else, and we haven't learned anything that we can act on right now.
There was someone else. He's been
There
put at
was
the bottom of
something,
a
yeah.
lake.
Yeah.
Got some concrete shoes.
Which lake?
I don't even remember anymore.
Do I trust that statement?
Give me an insight check.
There are 100 lakes.
There are 1,000 lakes.
1,000 lakes.
100.
That's a 13 that I figure this guy who's got that much rage and like a pretty decent understanding of like what the guys did,
Mhm.
he might remember what lake.
Yeah. He knows roughly where it is, but the lakes don't have names, so it's kind of hard to like describe. So, but yeah, he knows.
Got it.
So you said if we stay up at about this latitude, traveling to the mountains will be tolerable. Down in the floating belt, it got so hot by midday through the afternoon, it was unbearable.
Well, it gets that hot up here too, but you've got the water that you can use to cool off.
Great point. Are they all like? I tried wading into another lake and I got a couple steps in thinking it'd be shallow and it just dropped off. Is that common in the lakes up here?
Most of them drop off fairly quickly. They're all connected. We're not sure who or how, but if you can hold your breath for long enough, you can swim from lake to lake.
That's really neat. Is there like do the connections seem to be going anywhere, or they're just kind of connected without really any seeming purpose?
They're all connected together. There's one at the very western edge that the tunnel continues underneath in the mountain range. And there's one at the very east that continues south to the major lake down there.
That is fascinating. Do you know how, is it a natural occurrence that they are all connected?
We believe so. It seems like natural flows and erosion on the water, but it's unusual. So we're not entirely sure whether someone helped it along or not.
I mean, while we were down there, it seemed very straight, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
deliberate
like-
tunnel.
It seemed like someone made a deliberate secret tunnel.
Well, here's the other thing. Maybe they weren't always full of water.
That's true.
I mean, probably they were, but maybe not.
Maybe
who knows?
we found Sandlantis.
Well, I mean, maybe somebody did put them underground at first, and then for some reason decided that they needed to hide them and filled all of their, I guess, down portals, whatever, with water, so that no one would investigate it too much.
Okay. This seems again like something really cool we should come look at later. We keep
Um,
finding these.
I apologize. We did not ask your name. What do they call you?
I am Nathaniel.
Pleased to meet you, Nathaniel. I am Ore. 2 days west of here, you said we reached the Dragging Teeth Mountains. Are there any other villages along our way?
There could be. We move from place to place. We don't stay at any one place for usually more than 2 to 3 days. There will be more lakes, so there are very more chances that you will encounter other tribes of nomads.
Are there any permanent encampments within the Thousand Lakes that you're aware of? Or is it all nomads like yourself?
There are a few as you get to the northeastern side where the lakes appear in greater numbers that are more permanent than others.
I see.
There you go.
Um,
My
what
brain's currently
roughly
made of Swiss cheese. Go ahead, Corey.
what roughly what time is it now? So because it was midday when we were all hanging out at the old lake, and then it was 2 hours or 2.5 hours, and probably again another 2 hours getting up here above land. So
Yeah.
is it starting to go into the evening?
Oh,
Is it starting to cool
it's
off a little
already
bit?
into the evening because it was about 2 o'clock when you started the rest for 4 hours for Zerdig to make the things, and then you did
Right.
2.5 hours of travel, and then about
Gotcha.
another half hour of travel. So it's yeah. the sun is starting to go down. You're beginning to lose your travel time that you would travel at night.
Would we be welcome to stay for the evening? If not, we certainly could continue on our journey into the evening.
You got a tent?
We
We
do.
have like 6 tents.
Feel free to set it up.
Thank you.
So
In looking around this village, is there any needs I can quickly discern that these people need? I mean, they've obviously got tents, they've got some degree of gear there with the water. But is there anything that looks like they look like they're in need of?
no, they seem fairly self-sufficient.
Cool. And is there any vegetation near this lake?
There is.
And what kind of vegetation? Just like tall grasses or?
Yeah, there's just some small flowers and things that are popping up around, a few cacti as well.
Gotcha.
Any
Yeah.
people that look like they could benefit from lesser restoration, blinded, deafened, paralyzed?
No one looks sick.
Nice.
Plant growth, 1 action or 8 hours.
In that case, I'll go around offering to do portraits and just capturing sketches of what life's like up here.
Okay. Actual portraits or caricatures?
Both.
Okay. Charging or for free?
For free.
Okay. So you start doing caricatures and immediately are swarmed by several children looking to have their portraits done in that style. And they're all just kind of staring at you. Some of them are getting a little bit too close as you're trying to draw and paint. But they all seem really excited for you to do their pictures.
Nice. And I'll have dancing lights circling around.
Okay.
How many charges does the staff currently have?
I don't know that you've used it at all, even, so I believe it
Okay.
should have all 20 charges.
Can we awaken a cactus?
I mean, that's all up to Satsi. It's
Let me rephrase that. I would like to awaken a cactus
so
Why?
so we can have a little cactus buddy.
No.
But it makes an intelligent cactus, and that sounds adorable.
That's also 1,000 gold to bring that cactus to life.
Is it with the staff? I don't
And
think
I
you can
get
the
worth
material
1,000
component
gold.
items.
yeah, the staff doesn't require material
Yeah.
components.
That's
then
the
never
whole
mind.
point of saps.
Yeah.
Staged.
Gotcha.
I just feel like I don't want to use anything until we are in more of a place where we know whether or not
Well, you'll still
gonna
have
need
10
it.
charges. It only uses half the charges. So
Yeah,
realistically,
but you guys are wanting me to use transport via plants, and I only have a
okay,
handful
so
of charges for that.
what
So
will happen is at dawn, you'll get back at least the 5 charges needed to cast transport via plants. Minimum, because you get 1d12 plus 4. So you'll get back at least the 5 needed to cast. So we will have that at least.
Yeah, that's a legendary artifact you've got there. It's very,
Yeah.
very powerful.
We should be using it. We should be randomly doing these things whenever we feel like it.
okay, so if I give Mizeki a little McPedro cactus, will it just recharge in like a day or two?
It recharges in like a day minimum. You get back at least, you get between 5 and 16 charges every day at dawn.
How many charges do you need for tree travel?
10 or 15.
Yeah, 15.
So
Oh, okay.
basically, after dawn, we'll be able to transport via plants again if we want to. But
Gotcha.
Do you really want a cactus?
I mean, do you not want a cactus?
Go find your cactus. Small. You gotta carry it.
Look at the cactus.
They gain
can
the ability
actually
to
walk.
move.
Yeah,
Actually,
they
yeah,
can walk
get an
on their
old
own.
cactuses can be really old. We might learn surprising information.
Oh yeah, but it's still a plant and it didn't have intelligence before. Like awakening, it doesn't give it.
It gives
I
it
don't
10
think-
intelligence. It becomes an awakened shrub.
Yeah, but it
Um,
doesn't remember everything that ever happened to it. Like it's not like it. Yeah.
I don't know. I deal with things that are already like alive. I'm usually not
Oh,
reanimating.
I found a better one.
things.
Here we go. I'm gonna give him a hat, some googly eyes, and a mustache. Friends forever. Okay, yeah, we're gonna find like a let's go for Z2 sized. So like not massive.
Okay.
Try to keep it to like half a meter or less.
Perfect. Yeah, we're gonna find a medium-ish size cactus. There we go. I found a picture that I love.
While they are looking for their cactus, I am gonna continue talking to Nathan and pull out the map that I've been making and see if he can give me any additional details, landmarks, distances that I haven't seen yet, and kind of help assess some directions for me as well.
He just looks at it and goes, "What scale is this?"
I mention where Ith has stopped. I point out the distance from where I think we are now from where I think the last pond was, which was 2,500 feet south of us and another 500 feet to the west, to give him some reference.
Just looks at you, go, "You're not a cartographer, are you?"
It is I'm in practice.
Practice is good. Keep it up. And he just kind of looks at it and goes, grabs your pen, draws the
Sorry,
mountains on the far
Yeah.
side, and then they go from where you are. They basically start at the same level, and they continue north all the way until it's off of your map. And then he puts a gap, and then adds more mountains towards the south that continue until they're off of your map. And he labels them the Dragging Teeth. And so it's
Alright, so
split
you're mapping by
where the
field.
floating belt came out of the middle of the mountains, out of the middle of the mountain range.
And that helps establish a better sense of scale versus the map I've had so far.
Yeah.
And I ask him if he's able to roughly indicate where the watering holes are from here heading east as well.
He puts several X's along the way, in total about 30, but that's varying from where you are and further north.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there any contribution I can make to you or your village for the hospitality we've received?
We're good. We take care of all of our women and our children. Our men help protect from any raiders that dare come this far north. We are quite capable. But thank
Again,
you.
absolutely. Thank you for all of your hospitality. This has been surprisingly helpful, uh, given most of our interactions have been a certain level of hostile through the Floating Belt.
Okay.
I feel like we didn't learn very much again.
I don't know. I got a pretty good update to my map for what we're looking at.
And we have a rough timeline to when we'll be at the Dragging Teeth.
Yeah, I guess we got a better estimate of when we're gonna get there, but we still don't really know about like what's gonna go on over there.
Well, I mean, yeah, like this is good directions. This is desert GPS with guys. This is pretty good.
I want to go, but when I'll take a break from drawing sketches, and I'll, well, no, I don't know. If an adult stops by, I guess I'll ask them like the mountains move in a circular fashion. Um, do the lake people like rotate through and travel like east to west, back and forth again, or what defines the way they migrate between lakes?
So yeah, you stop and ask one of the adults, and they just say, "We go to whichever lake we feel like at the time. We will bounce back and forth between two lakes occasionally. Sometimes we'll travel for days until we get to a lake far from here. Just depending on whatever the leader feels is best for us at the time."
Okay, thank you. And we know there's raiders to the south. What are some like common dangers that we might need to be aware of as we travel towards the Dragging Teeth?
As long as you're staying further north and getting out, it's just the desert that you have to compete with. The raiders don't come up this far because we have fought them off many times. They don't like coming this far anymore.
Okay, good to hear. Want your portrait?
No, thank you.
Okay, have a great evening.
You as well. All right, so you guys set up camp here with them. You don't want to get a couple hours of travel in before it gets too cold?
I mean, eh. I feel like that. I feel like if a couple of hours of us staying on task was going to make the difference in saving the world, we've already failed.
Yeah,
So
fair. Good point.
This is the truth.
All right. So yeah, is there anything else that you all would like to do for the evening while you're here with the nomads?
Do they stay pretty active through the evening until it gets cold, or do they like shut down and go to bed at a specific time?
Um,
What's their routine feel like?
yeah. So as you're watching them, the children start going to bed about an hour after you arrive. And you notice that a few people come out that you hadn't seen before that seem more well and refreshed. Fires start going up about 2 hours after you arrived to help fend off the incoming cold. And people seem to be sitting around the fires just chatting, having good conversations. After about 4 hours, pretty much everybody that was awake when you arrived has all retired into their tents, and a new group of people have come out to keep watch on the camp.
And with this setup, would we be able to get like complete or long rest for the day?
Yeah, you'll be able to take a long rest here.
Cool.
So yeah, if you don't have anything else you all want to do, you can all go ahead and take a long rest. And you have your morning hours to begin traveling before it begins getting too hot. and you'll want to find a lake to camp by, or head further south into the desert if you want to see more mountains.
For the long rest, Ore would position himself where he can still kind of watch the sky like he does most evenings. Is the moon visible at all?
The moon is visible.
Ore's going to say a prayer to Thalia, asking for any additional guidance she can provide, and give thanks that we run into people that were not hostile and very cooperative and helpful in our current journey. And he will ask her to kind of watch over them and help keep them safe.
How many children did we encounter?
You counted about 20 children.
Okay. I am going to give one of the children 25 candies. By give them, I mean literally use my invisible imp to place a small bag of them in their house.
In their tent. Okay.
Yeah, it's still a house.
Yeah.
We're gonna
You're
have
gonna
to go back to the mountains.
you're going to create a
It's about
lore
the
amongst
economy. Yeah.
yeah, because it's going to be the Easter Bunny, but it's going to be the desert horse who decided to
Yeah.
leave a bag of candy for the children.
The desert horse.
The desert horse.
Except they don't know that it was the desert horse. They'll just assume it was whatever came out of the lake earlier.
Yeah, the desert horse.
Yeah, I mean, no one saw
Uh,
it, but like
uh,
they saw it go in and out. They just couldn't see
I
what
will
it
leave
was.
a note. I will leave a note with the candy describing the desert horse, I guess. Yeah, that seems like something he would do. Maybe get Amelandiel to make a very poor quality drawing of the desert horse.
With no name.
Yeah. That's what you gotta do.
Okay.
I will definitely provide a drawing of the desert horse.
So
And I'm
Andy,
going to
from
make
the
it. You might have asked for a low quality one, but you're going to get a super fancy desert horse.
so
Okay.
candy from the desert from a horse with no name.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
All right. Desert horse. New lore. Okay. Anything you want to do in the morning before departing?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've gotten some good information from what we could, at least.
I'd get a sketch of the camp at sunrise before we head out.
Okay. Easy enough for you to do. But yeah, then you begin heading out, making your way west towards the Dragging Teeth Mountains. And you continue on as it begins getting hotter and hotter throughout the day. You've passed a couple of lakes here, and you can see up ahead that there is another lake for you to kind of set camp at again to make sure you're not traveling in the hottest part of the day. And you can cool off in the water or explore the water again, I guess, if you would like.
I would. I'm keeping track of the lakes that we pass and stop at versus what put on the map, trying to help keep pace and set a scale.
Okay.
Just kind of working out the logistics of the map a little bit better now that I have a little more frame of reference against it.
Yeah. So this is the sixth lake that you've passed in the 4 hours that you've been traveling.
How big is this lake?
So this one's it's fairly large compared to the others that you've seen. But it's not a massive lake like what you've seen elsewhere. So this one's
Right.
maybe about 1,000 feet across. So
And also any indication of footprints, tracks, Anything in the water visible from the surface?
No tracks here. Nothing visible from what you can see down into the depths of the water.
Okay. Should we explore the bottom of this lake as well?
I would expect it just connects to the neighboring one, as Nathaniel told us.
Yeah, I feel like we're not really fast enough to plump down there and do that.
Unless you want to go looking for a body.
Or anything else of interest that might be down here?
I mean, you do normally stop for a few hours every time just to kind of avoid the heat. So going into the water, if that's what you want to
Sure.
do at the time while you're here, or you can definitely do that.
Yeah, I'll do the same
That's
thing.
true.
I'll walk to the bottom and kind of get a sense of anything new at the bottom of this lake, where the tunnel is, which direction it heads off in.
Okay, yeah. So you get to the bottom of the lake. This one actually has two tunnels. One heading back towards the east where you came from, and another heading northwest.
And any indication that down in the tunnels, anything has been here recently?
No, no indication in the tunnels at all.
Okay. So yeah, I'll spend my time just investigating the lake and the tunnel. For you said there's two tunnels, so one coming back from the way we've came from, and then one heading the direction we're going. I'm gonna
Well, more
investigate the one
north though. It's
more
heading
north. Gotcha.
northwest. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm gonna head into that tunnel very cautiously, like I have been,
Hmm.
um, a few 100 feet, and just kind of see if the tunnel turns off. And I'm just making a mental note of what the tunnels say. So when I get out of the water, I'm gonna update the with notes for which directions the tunnels lead from these lakes.
Right. Yeah. So you continue on for a few 100 feet, and you still just see darkness ahead of you in the tunnel. You don't see any splits or anything, or it opening up.
Okay. And again, there's just no sign of any kind of creatures or life in these lakes. There's no fish or bottom feeders or anything in these lakes either. There's just water.
Yeah, it's just water from what you've seen so far.
Gotcha. Okay. So that would be a source of food for these people either.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of again making a mental note of what directions the tunnels go, and if I find anything, which I don't after a couple 100 feet, and then just head back
Hmm.
um back to the rest of the team.
Yeah. And so, like, as you compare to the drawings that Nathaniel did on your map into the directions that you're going, you're fairly certain, yeah, that these are just, like he said, they're connections to each of the other lakes. So you could swim up instead of traveling over the sea if you wanted to, and could convince Sadzi to reach the mountains. It would be slower, but you could do it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. As I come out and I meet back up with the party, I'll convey what I've seen at the bottom of this one, let them know it still lines up with what Nathaniel said, and then start updating my map.
Okay.
And certainly share. It may be possible to use these tunnels to converse our distance without having to travel the heat. And I look directly at Sadzi.
But
If we knock her unconscious, she won't know.
ew. It's water. and it's gonna get me all wet, and it's gonna make my fur go weird, and that's just gonna be uncomfortable. Can you like put me in a bubble or something?
I'm concerned it won't actually be faster for very long. Just because, like, we're depending on the lakes being connected in the direction we actually want to travel.
Understood. It would. This one does lead northwest, so it may take us a little out of direction. But if we wanted to continue through one of these tunnels to beat the heat on the second day, if lines with the direction we're looking to go, that may be a way to not have to stop to fight off the heat for the afternoon. Just a suggestion as an idea.
I would much rather prefer another method, but I
Given the time limit we're on, I think any travel distance we can gain during the difficult to travel hours is good.
Again, only if it aligns with the direction we are continuing to head.
Yeah.
I am concerned that if it does lean back towards direction that would take the time off from our travels, certainly is not worth the direction to go.
how about this? If I have to go through this stupid wet and the tunnels, then we come up at every lake and make sure we're still going the right direction, and if not, we immediately get out of the lake and continue overland.
Of course.
Did you end up awakening a cactus?
I sure
Mizeki?
hope so.
Yeah, you've got an awakened cactus hanging out with you.
What are its thoughts on going underwater?
Yeah, how does it feel? Also, what language did you teach it? You can teach it one language that you know.
I probably taught it either common.
No one can hear you.
Sorry, I probably taught it either common or infernal, since I know you speak both of those.
I don't speak Infernal.
Your
I
M
speak
speaks
common.
infernal.
Yeah, but I don't.
Fine. I
Common.
probably would have taught
You
it
and
common.
I could talk to it.
You could teach it Dwarvish so that nobody but
No
you
one else
and
can speak to
Zerdik
it.
knows it.
And Zerdig.
Yeah, I could do that if I was feeling evil, but I would probably just do common.
That would
Because
also
at this
be a
point-
real smack in Mizeki's face, given how much he hates the dwarfs.
Yeah,
I mean, at this point,
they're bad people.
Mizeki's just kind of dragging me along with his enthusiasm.
All right, so we have a common speaking cactus. Does the cactus have any opinions about what it wants to be called? Is it a boy cactus or a girl cactus? Do cactuses have
cactus.
genders?
No.
Okay.
Can we just call the cactus Spike and be done with it?
That's a dog name. The cactus is a person. It's as smart as a commoner.
We could
I
just
thought
ask it
Spike
what it
was
wants
a
to be
cool
named.
name.
Just call it Cactus until it can convey what it wants to be called.
I'm gonna name it Oren, which is Sanskrit for sun and adventure.
Okay, but how are you gonna take this cactus when we're going through the water? Cactuses don't like huge amounts of water.
Hi, Warren. If that's the name you settle upon, how do you feel about going underwater between lakes?
I can't swim.
That's the two of us, buddy.
Do awakened shrubs breathe?
No?
Yeah. No. No, it doesn't say that. I mean, it doesn't say that they don't breathe.
Yeah,
So-
water breathing can do a bunch, so we
That's
don't
true.
exceed that limit.
Oh yeah, we can just water breathing. Duh. We're just
Guess-
gonna strap him onto my back. We'll
Tie a
build him
rope.
a little.
You want to have a cactus strapped to you?
Yeah, we'll build him a little saddle.
I like how you've gone the whole campaign being like, no one rides on my back. And now you're like, except you, Cactus.
Cactus is my friend. Cactus is legally my friend for 30 days. As per the spell.
Come on, Spike. We're going on an adventure.
No, we've named it Arun. Because it is Sanskrit for sun and adventure, and that's where we found it.
Gotcha.
Incorrect.
Gotcha.
The cactus is legally Sadzi's friend for 30 days.
Is it only
Booyah!
Sanji's friend?
Yeah, charmed by you for 30 days,
Oh.
or until you or your companions do anything harmful to it. So it is legally
Drowning it
Sadzi's
might be
friend.
considered harmful.
I know. Maybe it'll like abandon us if we tie it to Mizeki. I could understand that.
I am being attacked.
We're also probably more likely to encounter people to ask questions, not in water caves.
Well, yeah, I think the plan is we're just using the water caves to get a little bonus travel time if we can.
Just during the heat of the day. And then-
Yeah.
okay.
So break up to where you're not ever stopping except at night.
Kinda, yeah.
Correct.
If we can, like, we'll try it and see how far we can get with that.
Okay. So we're going underwater?
Sounds
Sure.
like it.
We're
Okay.
gonna have to re-ritual cast breathing, water breathing for our cactus friend.
If I die, please tell my mother and my brother I love them.
Will do.
How many people can you cast water breathing on, Zerdik?
I have to look it up, but it's
Up to
more
It's
than
up
our
10
party.
creatures. Yeah,
Okay.
it's way more than our party.
Yeah, especially since 2 of you don't breathe. 3 of you don't breathe.
I mean, technically, I guess I don't either, so.
Yeah, you were the third one. Because the 2 robots and you don't breathe. Yeah. Fun stuff.
What is the cactus's alignment?
Awakened Shrub is unaligned.
Okay, and he hasn't picked one. All right,
I mean,
I've created
he is
it.
not even a day old, so
I don't know. Some people come
very
into the world with
impressionable.
rage. I'm going to teach the awakened shrub.
You're going to teach it
All
what?
Everything,
Oh,
anything it wants.
okay. So, you cast water breathing, give everybody one of the cool rebreathers, and begin making your way down to the bottom of the lake, and then following the northwest tunnel. Or based off the map that Nathaniel gave you, you estimate that this is going to be about 1,500 feet towards the northwest before it splits off and heads more west or more north, and then another 1,000 feet before you reach your next lake.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do we have anybody that doesn't have dark vision? I don't remember.
At this
Mizeki?
point, no.
But oh yeah,
I'll
because
have
Mizeki has it
lights
now.
going.
I
Yeah.
have it
okay.
because of demon stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I'll have dancing lights going because I appreciate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And or I can give you all 300 feet of dark vision for an hour a day or something like that.
If
Our-
necessary.
Our
Yeah.
plant friend doesn't have dark vision.
Well, the dancing lights will help him then.
There you go.
Yeah.
As we're traveling these tunnels, one thing I don't know that I asked about before, but I'm going to do it this time. I'm looking for any markings as though anyone has left notes or directions or arrows, signs of like any kind of carving, any kind of man-made indications in these caves.
No, there are no indications in the tunnels of anything man-made there. No signs or anything. It's just completely submerged and filled with water. Really, only a couple places you can go, so not much need for
Or
direction.
right, Ore's going to stop for a very brief moment and then really quickly carve into one of the walls. Ore was here.
I'll
With
cast
what?
detect magic.
Just with my dagger.
Okay. Nothing magical other than what you guys are carrying on you.
Cool. That's what I was hoping for. I was half worried I'd get blind and then throw up underwater, and throwing up in a rebreather's just gross.
Yeah.
So okay.
Okay. But yeah, you continue on until you make it to the next lake, and there isn't another tunnel out of this lake.
Is there any indication of people at this lake before we ascend out of the water?
There's no indication of people at this lake currently before
We'll
you
do the
ascend.
slow eyes up out of the water, looking for anything on the shore before we like expose ourselves coming out.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean zombies coming out of the water.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. As you get up and you look around, you don't see any people around. You do see that there are tracks recently that are headed about northeast of here, which, if you had taken the north tunnel instead of the west tunnel that you took, would be roughly the direction that that lake should be in. So,
Gotcha. Okay. And with this travel, have we avoided the hottest part of the day?
um, yeah, you spent a couple hours here. Do you still have a few hours to spend before? Unless, did you have to prepare water breathing again, Zerdig, and you spent 4 hours camping before? Or did you just have it prepared now?
He just has a prepared instant ritual. Yeah.
Yeah. So you still got a few hours of the hot time of the day now that you're up
And there,
at this lake.
Good. That'll give
right,
us a
and you
chance
said there
to dry
wasn't
off.
a tunnel heading any further west from here. This is where the tunnel ended.
Correct. But you do know that all the tunnels are connected somehow. So if you went back
Right.
and then went down a different path, you can find it. Like you can find your way there. You just don't know where and how. So
Right. Well, I didn't want to zigzag from lake to lake if it wasn't leading in the direction we're looking to go. Since this
yeah.
part came out further west, I was fine with that. So we'll just hang out at the lake, killing other part of the afternoon before we can start traveling again, I would guess.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys enjoy the camp. Um, the cactus tries to hide from Mazeki by blending in with some of the other cactuses. And not moving at all, so Mazeki doesn't know which one it is. And as the air begins to cool down and you guys break camp, you continue traveling west um, towards the mountain range. Um, is there anything that you're wanting to do before you leave the lake?
Are we going?
Go ahead, Sazi.
Oh, I was just going to say, are we taking more cursed tunnels?
No, there wasn't another tunnel
No,
for you to take.
Yeah, we're exiting now.
Okay.
That doesn't take you in the wrong direction, which
All
that
right.
was one of your caveats, was always be
Yeah.
going in the right direction. So
I will quietly scoop up the cactus and hide it from Mazeki.
it's kind of hard to do because it is like 3 feet. So
While we have a few minutes after the water, Ore is going to update his map again with the same information, tunnel, which direction it went, connected to this next lake. Take
okay.
a general heading before we start heading that direction again.
All right. Yeah. So you set out on your adventure, continuing until it reaches the part in the evening where it begins to get too cold, where you want to have a fire here and warm up. Passing a few more lakes along your way. Do you want to set up camp nearby a lake or push forward through the cold?
I would think we would set up camp near a lake, like we did with the other village.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. So yeah, you
plan has worked so
set
far.
up your camp and begin your long rest for the evening. Ore, since you are aware of everything while you are in your rest, you notice coming from the west and heading in your direction, a sandstorm is approaching you, and it is approaching you quite rapidly. And then, as the sandstorm gets close, everything goes dark around you and you can't see anything. And then you hear a voice say, "Capture the centaur, kill the others." And that's where we will end tonight's session.
I don't,
Aw,
I
damn.
don't
We
like that.
survived.
I don't like that ending.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming, for hanging out, for watching today. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.